marked my 6th year attending the annual conference session. It was my 4th as a young adult delegate representing the Los Rios district. So, also I noticed that our name tags were a little bit bigger in the youth and young adult delegates because I guess they wanted us to stand out to show that we were the young people. And we also had our churches and districts, whereas the other lay members and the clergy just had their names and districts like really small. So they just really wanted us to stand out. Our session this year was the 171st annual conference session for the California, Nevada, and our theme was With Jesus in the Boat. I personally felt that this year was actually a lot more different, but in a good way. For us as a young adult delegation, we felt more connected than we ever were, and it was under the leadership of Viriviri, who did this the 2nd year in a row, and he had us rally around each other a lot, especially when we had like our hard times struggles. And yesterday, one of our delegates, Hannah Estrella, she was the last person to pray as we were waiting for the election ballots to be casted for the jurisdictional conference. And it was hard hearing her talk about depression, that she went through a whole year of depression, and she was having struggles because she's about to become youth leader of her church. And so everyone just rallied around her. We were there supportive of her, and we all just connected together as one. Especially since this year, we had one of our delegates actually elected to the general conference. And she's 23 years old. Her name is Rebecca Bernstein. She was the last lay member to be delegated from the lay side. And she is also openly gay. So for her to go and represent not only the young people, but she's representing all the LGBTQIA plus people. And I think that that is really an inspiration. We also had 5 others who are going to the Western Jurisdictional Conference. Ryland Christian Fernandez, Michael Sue, Lauren Michelle Stevens, Caroline Barrow, and Leslie Rickard. And they're going as either delegates or reserves. So it was just really great to see all of them up on stage, and we all just supported them the whole time, and we were there just to make a difference because everyone kept saying, you know, we're the future. But as Rebecca also stated, we're the now. We are not the future, we are the now. And we're going to keep showing everyone that we are the now. And by being up on stage with the bishop, I felt that I was representing that as being the now too. Last year, the youth delegation only had 15 voting delegates. The youth delegation had 12, and then the young adults, we only had 15. But this year, we really broke that record because for the youth, they had 24 voting delegates, and we as the young adult delegation had 34 voting delegates. That's a total of 58 youth and young adult delegates. And I think that that's showing that we still need to keep on showing that we're still growing, and we're going to keep proving to everyone that we are the now, because we're not going anywhere. Thank you, Sam. I just encourage anyone who's a youth member going into 9th through 12th grade or just graduating from high school next year, or any young adults that are 18 to 35, who just finished their first year of college, to strongly go. You need to go, because this is something that's really important. These issues and matters are what's bringing us together as a church, and we need to show everyone that we are actually going to continue to grow, and we're going to go stronger because we need to stay together. We need to ally together. We're not supposed to separate. We shouldn't separate. We need to stay strong and grow stronger together. Thank you.
Good morning, church. I'm honored and privileged to be asked by our church to represent us at the annual conference. I went last year. It was my first year. And I didn't have support going there. So this year I made it a mission that I should go to the conference meeting so I could get more information before I went down to the annual conference. So I was glad that I went down there and where we started our resolutions to help the pastors and lay leaders, resolutions for the rights of licensed local pastors and commission provisional elders to vote. So that helped me when I went down to pre-conference meeting. So when I went down to Modesto, I was fully prepared. I'm glad I went with Sami, who really encouraged me and supported me over there. As you know, the theme was Jesus in the boat. What really hit me at the beginning of the meeting was when Kakano mentioned that we are doing, most of us are doing what Jesus is supposed to do. We are deciding who's supposed to come in the boat, who's supposed to go out of the boat, and not leaving it to Jesus, who is supposed to be doing all these things. So that was one of the things that really hit me at the beginning of the conference. And as we went along, that was in my mind all the time. When our group went to talk about the resolution that I was just talking about, that was in my mind all the time. Who are we to decide? So in my group, we voted yes on that resolution. So there's so many pastors and elders who are out in remote areas who are doing the same work as our pastors in churches like this. So, but when they came to vote, they didn't have a voice. So we passed that resolution. I was glad that I went too, because I met a lot of friends who were connected to Centennial. And one of the things that was mentioned in the Los Rios report was Centennial going out of its way to invite people to come in, and I was really proud to hear that. We're not just concentrating on our campus; we started to go out. The youth going to feed the hungry, the neighborhood invitation to come to church, and all these things. And I was really proud that it was mentioned that in the Los Rios report that Centennial was doing something about going out of the boat to invite people to come in the boat. So, with those few words, I want to thank Centennial again for sending me over there. And like Bev has said, I encourage people just to go there, watch and listen. If they're not members, just see what's going on. It's a lot of experience that we can gain. Thank you.
Good morning, Centennial. Like most of the first things, there's always a sense of excitement when you're about to go and do that first thing. Before I went to a conference, I was trying my best to make sure that I understood and knew everything before going there. Even up to the point at the last council meeting, I asked Pastor Rene, okay, so what's the mandate of the church? What am I going to carry to a conference? And she explained to me carefully that when we go to annual conference, you're going as a member, not as a delegate. We send delegates to general conference. You vote on your conscience. You understand? That kind of settled me a bit, and I kind of prepared myself on my own and on my own conscience. I went to the conference. And oh boy, was the conference a transformational experience for me. I don't know about the other conferences, but this conference was different. It touched me. I'm not so sure about the head knowledge that I gained, but I am certain of the spiritual growth that I got back. The thing with Jesus in the boat was a wonderful thing. The bishop introduced it, and throughout the conference, the theme was taking different turns and meanings as wonderful preachers and pastors shared their views on the idea with Jesus in the boat. And we had this wonderful band that was rocking, that would set the mood at every worship. The band was so good that everybody was in the mood. And when we heard the words of wisdom from these wonderful preachers and pastors before each session began, it really set the mood. I came back convinced with the idea of that unity. That word connectional really hit home to me. What it meant to be a connectional congregation. We do our work around here at Centennial. I love Centennial, as my little daughter says. We're just connected here. But when I went there, I realized that we are part of this greater, bigger body, much greater and bigger than ourselves, and what we do here. And it was such a feeling to know that there's so many other people out there doing the same thing that we are doing and we love doing here at Centennial. And it makes me proud to be part of a denomination that is determined to be together, to continue to live what Jesus Christ told us to live in unity and love. There was a lot of discussion about the storms that were raging, but I think one message that resonated and everybody kind of accepted and embraced was the importance of being united as a church, of being inclusive, of accepting everyone and everybody, no matter how different they may be. I'm proud of Centennial, as Sally said. When I saw Bev up there, I said Centennial is really making an impact. Our very own Paul, Exxon Fernandez, Chris in his coat and tie, sitting up there every day. I saw Centennial up there. Reverend Kimball. Everybody was there, and even got mentioned. And I think I heard the committees and everybody, what they're trying to do. I feel we at Centennial are going in the right direction in what we are trying to do. We were recognized for having given our 100% of our tithe. We were recognized in the mission of our Jubilee Initiative and our Financial Peace Universities programs that we are doing. And I think there's a lot more that is there for us to do together. And I know Centennial, if we continue this path, a lot of more lives will be brought into the boat, and they will experience that experience with Jesus in the boat as we are. Thank you, Centennial.
As Sami mentioned, one of the agenda items every day is a devotional, and on the very first day, since we had come in Tuesday night, the conference was beginning, I think at 8:30 the next morning. I think I was standing in the huge plenary room, which was pretty empty, except for the band and the Fijian combined choir. And here were all these Centennial folks, and I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know that they were going to do that, which was a wonderful thing, because last year it was so unfortunate that the combined Fijian choir was invited to come, and the annual conference ended 2 hours early, and no one told them. So when they came, pretty much everybody was already even out of the room. And so I felt like, well, they made up for it by inviting them to kick us off. And it was quite an amazing anthem that was shared with us. And yes, I want you to know that the amazing band, I think everybody just really rocked with that band this year. And it was from Tavita Koroi's, the congregation he's leading in First San Rafael. So there's another connection for us. And yes, thank you, Sim. I just want to share with you one thing from our theme. In the first devotional, we were very, very privileged in our annual conference to have an out gay man who is a clergyman serve on the commission on the way forward. That was that commission that worked for 2 years and brought its recommendation to the Council of Bishops, which was then voted on at the Special General Conference. Well, his name is Reverend Brian Adkins, and Brian gave the devotional that morning, and he talked about his grandmother teaching him so much of being faithful in Christ. And one of the things that he said that kind of became a mantra through the rest of the conference session was, when you're with Jesus in the boat, you remember the story, and the wind and the waves, and where was Jesus? Sound asleep. And so Brian said, somebody better wake up Jesus. And that became our mantra. Anytime we thought there was trouble brewing, somebody better wake up Jesus. So I want you to hang on to that mantra also, Santana. There's nothing that we can't face together. As long as we wake up Jesus and remember He's in the boat and He's there with us and for us and will lead us through. So I thank all of those of you who were part of this wonderful annual conference session. And I do have a lot to talk to you with the trustees about. Some things that I learned and rules that we've changed, but we will work our way through all of those as we move together. So thank you all again for sharing. And, how do we get up there? Go ahead, Grace. And we want you to hold this annual conference in prayer as we prepare to send our newly elected delegates to the General Conference in 2020, which will be in spring, and also the jurisdictional conference will be the following July, and we will be electing 2 new bishops to the Western jurisdiction. So hold us in your